Okay, we are continuing with our homework for Chapter 16. And what we want to do on our graph is the two columns that we want to show on our graph is going to be Tanya's income. We're calling it income after paying for child care, but it's also her income without government support. Okay, so that's what that is right here, and then this is income with government support. So we're going to show the blue and the red in the graph. So we simply come down here and we right-click in this area, select Data, Add, and we're going to first add our income after paying for child care and our series name right here. And then we're going to click on our grid for series values and scroll over all those values right here. Click the down arrow right there. And then we're going to go OK. And then we're going to need to edit our horizontal values. And what we want for, well, let me just go ahead and just go OK. What we want here is we want leisure hours to show here. So we want to get this column right here. And then we'll look at that. Okay, so let's go select Data, Edit, and we want leisure hours right here, 0 through 2000. Okay, okay, and that gives us that. And then here, if you want to, you can certainly change that a little bit so it's easier to. Whoops, not that far. Let me go back so we can see this a little bit easier and not get in the way of our graph. Okay, now, so this is Tanya's income before she has any government support. Right, and then we want to see her income with government support, okay, right here. So we're going to come here, and we're going to go select Data, Add, Income with government support, and then we can click on the series of values and scroll down. Okay, okay, okay. Now we have our graph, and we can see that. Now, the way you want to look at this is that moving from in the horizontal axis, moving from left to right, we're working less and less, so that we can see that this is 2,000 hours of leisure hours. So this is also 0 hours of labor. So all the way over here to the far left down here, this is 2,000 hours of labor right here. Which is, so if she works the maximum number of hours that she can work, she's going to earn $20,000 on her own, and even with government support, because she gets zero. Because they're taking $1 out for every dollar that she earns here, then this is going to be the same. So this point right here is what you're seeing right here. 0 hours of leisure and 2,000 hours of labor. And then out here is if she does not work at all, right here, what she would get with government support, which we're seeing right here, right? 0 hours of labor, 2,000 hours of leisure is going to mean that Tanya's going to receive $30,000 from the government, okay? And her income is going to be 0 because she's not working at all. Her income from working. Right here, so we're seeing that right down here. Okay, now that's your graph. Now we need to get to the questions. And most of these you're going to be able to do on your own. They're pretty obvious. So let's just jump back over here and look at them. So let's see. How much would Tanya receive annually if she decides to work 2,000 hours? Well, if she decides to work 2,000 hours, we can see that very easily. How much will she receive is going to be right here, okay? So this is how much she's. So we're assuming that she's going to take a government support. So she's going to receive whatever is in the red column over here. Okay. Now. So then let's just jump back over. So number 2, how much would Tanya receive annually if she does not decide to work at all? Well, that's just simply looking at the graph and seeing 0 hours of labor are here, and so we just move over and see it right there. Okay. Does Tanya have a powerful incentive to work after the government program is in place? Why or why not? Well, that's just simply comparing what she would receive if she worked and what she would receive if she does not work at all. And if we go back to our table, and you can also see it in the graph, if she works, she's going to be right here. This is 2,000 hours a total. If she works as much as she possibly can, this is as much as she can earn. And as she lowers her hours of work, you can see that the income that she receives actually increases up to the maximum if she does not work at all. So that should be pretty clear. It should be pretty clear to you what the answer to this is. Okay. Now, let's say that the government gets a little bit smarter, and they look at this program and they will go, wow, this program's really not working the way we want it to work. So they're going to change the policy so that Tanya only loses 50 cents for every dollar that she earns, instead of losing the whole dollar. So what we want to do then is recalculate the table and based on the change in this policy. So let's go back and do that. So if you remember, whoops. You can see that the formula for government support is right here. And you can see right up there, we multiply her income by $1, and then we subtracted that from the total of 30,000. So let's change that $1 to 50 cents, which would be 0.5, and then just hit enter. And then we want to scroll. We want to drag this, and so we can see. Okay, now things change. Now you can see that if she works her maximum amount of hours, she's going to be at this income level right here, 35,000. Now, if she doesn't work at all, she's only going to receive 30,000. So that changes. That should change her incentives, right? So let's jump back over here to the question. So now we just simply ask the same questions and answer them again. How much would Tanya receive annually if she decides to work the maximum that she can work? How much would Tanya receive if she doesn't work at all? And does this change in a government policy increase or decrease Tanya's incentive to work? Explain how you know, and you should be able to see that fairly obviously by looking at both the table right here and the graph. This is her income with a government support up here. Okay, and you can see that it's now highest when she works her maximum hours, and it gets lower as she works less and less and has more leisure. So that should answer that. So that answer should be pretty clear to you. Okay, now then this next one is now keeping the same situation. Tanya calculates that she's going to need a minimum of $32,500 annually after paying for child care. So we just need to look at how many hours does she need to work in order to earn that amount after paying for child care. And if you look at the table, it's pretty obvious right here. Okay. and also on the graph. If we look at right here, this point right here, okay. Okay, what's next? Next is, now we are going to change another part of the calculation. Tanya's babysitter is going to quit if she does not receive or get a raise from $5 to $6 an hour. So if Tanya pays her a babysitter this higher hourly wage, is she still better off working than if she did not work at all? Well, what we need to do is come back to our table over here, and we'll look at child care costs right here and change this 5 in our formula to a 6, right? So we're just going to go backspace 6, enter, just like that. So now we should get in this cell E3, we should get equals 6 times whatever's in the B row or B column, and then we just simply find our black cost and drag, and we can see what she's going to pay now in childcare, and we can see here that this is how much, $33,000 if she works her maximum amount here, and this is how much she's going to receive if she doesn't work at all. So we can see that the curve is still slightly downward sloping, so as she works less, she earns less. As she spends more and more time not working, or as she gains more and more leisure hours, then her income gradually decreases. So that should answer that for you. Okay. So let's see. So is she better off working? Well, that's pretty clear by the table and the graph. So approximately how many hours will she now need to work in order to receive her budget requirement after childcare? $32,500. Well, if we look back over here, we can see that level is right in here. So you can say she's going to have to work a minimum or just a bit over 1,500 hours. You could figure out the exact amount if you wanted. But just something over 1,500 hours would be fine. You can see that's 1,500 hours would not quite give her the $32,500 that she requires. Okay, one more and we're done. Number 10. Now this is sort of a review of this idea of opportunity cost, which is individual, which is subjective. So let's just say if we just take out of the equation the idea that she has to have $32,500 and just think about the opportunity cost for Tanya working and not spending that time with her youngest child. And let's just say, for the sake of our calculations, that Tanya perceives that her opportunity cost of not being with her child is $1.50 per hour. Would it make sense for her to work? Explain your answer. Well, what we're really looking at is how much is she actually earning per hour over and above. I mean, how much is she earning by working? Okay. So if we look at this, if she doesn't work at all, she's going to get $30,000. Okay, and this is the wrong one. Sorry, that's why I was confused. This is the one. Yeah, we're up here now. We've changed this, right? So if she does not work at all, she's going to get $30,000. But then if she works 500 hours, she's going to get $30,750. So how much is the value there? How much is she getting per hour to work those first 500 hours? And we can simply just use our calculator, and we can divide 750 by 500, and we're going to get, surprise, surprise, we're going to get 1.5. So we can see, and the same is true all the way up. So each hour that she works, she's earning an extra $1.50, and her opportunity cost for not being with her child is $1.50. So your answer can be something like, and I'll help you out with this one. Your answer can be, let me scroll down, can be something like, no, it would not make sense for Tanya to work. Now, not counting the fact that she has to have that a minimum income. If you just look at her opportunity cost only, if she has to pay her babysitter $6 an hour, and she's going to she's losing 50 cents in government support for every dollar that she earns, Tanya's income goes up by $1.50 for every hour that she works. So if her opportunity cost is higher, if time spent with her child is perceived by Tanya to be worth more than $1.50 an hour, it does not make sense for her to work. Now, let me make sure that let me go back to our problem here and see. Oh, more, right, more. Okay, so I said that the perceived value of her not being with her child is actually worth more than $1.50. So if that is worth more, and she's only earning $1.50 more for each hour that she works, in terms of just looking at the opportunity cost calculus, it would not make sense for her to work. And I just wanted you to think about that, because when single parents have to work, they also have to make this hard choice of not spending time with their children. So I just wanted you to think about, how that actually is part of the economic calculus and the decision of making for workers in the labor market. Okay, that is your homework for Chapter 16.